If you have $10,000 worth of debt, you need $10,000 plus interest to pay down this debt as fast as possible. Now, you could come up with the best strategies in the world, but until you can come up with that money, you're not going to be able to pay down the debt. So how do you get that money? Well, you can either spend less money or you can work to earn more money. When we talked about how to plug the financial hole, we talked about different ways to spend less money. You are no longer spending money on things that you don't need. You are no longer going to buy things that you cannot afford. Now, you're also not going to spend all of your money. You're not thinking in terms of net zero. This way, you have more money. This is the most accessible way, not the easiest way, but the most accessible way to have more money. Now, when you have this more money, what do you do with it? If you have that high interest debt, this is where now you need to be paying down that debt as fast as possible. So now, if you don't need it, you don't spend it. Now, you take the money that you're not spending because you don't need it and you have more money. Now, when you have this more money because you work to spend less, now you're going to take this money and you're going to attack your debt with it. And this is where now you're going to work to pay down the debt. And now when you pay your debt payments in advance because you're going to have extra money to pay it down, you also want to make sure that when you're doing this, you're sending the extra money to your bank or to your credit card company, that your money is going to your principal balance, not to make the next month's payment. And this is something you definitely want to make sure, because when you are working to pay down the principal balance, you're actually paying down the amount of debt that you owe. If you owe $10,000 worth of debt and you send in an extra $1,000, well, now that debt goes from $10,000 to $9,000 and you don't have to pay interest on that. That's what you want. But when you go to pay your next month's balance, now what you're doing is instead of bringing down your debt balance, you're just making your future payments. So you're still paying interest out of the extra $1,000 that you sent in. That's not what you want. When you're working to pay down that debt, you want to pay down the actual principal balance. You want to attack that instead of just making your future payments with the extra money. So make sure now when you're working to send in that money that you figure out what that money is actually going towards. You want to pay down the principal balance. Then the next thing you got to do, so we've talked about now how to spend less money. The next thing that you got to do is you got to figure out how you can earn more money. Now, the first way you can earn more money, which is, again, the most accessible, not the easiest, definitely not the easiest, but the most accessible is to just sell some of your stuff. If you got a BMW sitting in the driveway and you got credit card debt, your priorities are in the wrong place. Now, I know this is going to be hard and painful because I like cars too, but you got to get rid of the BMW because that is bleeding, costing you a lot of money. And it's not just the car payment, it's the insurance, it's the premium gas, and it's the maintenance and everything in between. You got to get rid of that flashy stuff, whether it's the cars, whether it's not going out on vacations, but we're talking about selling things, whether it's getting rid of some of the expensive clothes, whether it's getting rid of some other expensive toys. Look around you. Are there things that you can sell that you can downsize? Maybe you downsize your home. Maybe you go from a home to an apartment. Maybe you go to a smaller apartment. This is not fun. But this is also not permanent. The goal here is to pay down this debt as fast as possible. That way you can get to building your wealth as fast as possible. That way now you're not compounding your credit card company's wealth. You're compounding your own wealth. That way you can start living in the bigger homes and have the faster cars sooner and not have to worry about the money. Because the mistake that so many people make, the reason why people end up in debt is because they want the nice things today. And this is where, it's painful, but also helpful to understand what debt is. When you use debt, you're using tomorrow's income today. When you go out and you borrow $50,000 to go out and buy a car, or you go out and you borrow $5,000 on your credit card, you're using tomorrow's income, next year's income, and the years after that's income, and you're spending it today. And when you spend it on a liability, something that's not making you any money, like a car or clothes or vacations, that money is being spent and not earning you any money. And now you have to spend tomorrow's income and the day after that's income to pay it back plus interest. That's what debt is. And when we have this economic system that relies and runs on people spending money, well, it's very easy to fall into the trap of just spend, because that's what everybody's doing. It's just normal. That's what everybody does. Who doesn't finance the car? Who doesn't have credit card debt? Who doesn't use buy now, pay later? That's what's normal. But if you don't want to be like everybody else, you can't keep doing what everybody else does. And so now when you're trying to pay down the debt faster, now what you got to do is you got to figure out how you can get more money so you have more money to pay down that debt, because now you need more money today to pay for yesterday's purchases. And the fastest way to do that is to get more money. Now we talked about how to spend less. We talked about how to sell some of your stuff, but now you got to figure out how can you actually earn more money. And maybe that means you got to get a second job. Maybe that means you got to do something you don't like that we can earn more money. Maybe that means you got to create a side hustle. Maybe that means you got to work as a contractor. Maybe that means you got to work as a freelancer. Maybe that means you got to go out and start a business. Maybe that means you're going to have to go out and do something that we can get more money. But again, let's go back to the core. Why are you earning more money now? Because your goal isn't to earn more money so you can have a faster car or go on another vacation. Your goal right now, and this is the difficult part, you're going to be working to earn more money. But when you get that extra $2,000, you're not going to go out and buy something with it. You're not going to go out and invest that money. You're not going to go out and save that money. You're going to take that money. You're going to pay down this debt. If you enjoyed this short clip from my longer videos, here's another clip that I think you'll love. And while you're at it, if you're interested in learning more about how to start generating passive income, our team put together an amazing guide on how to start generating passive income for free. All you got to do is click that button right over there. Thank you for watching. And as always, keep hustling.